Hi, it's Anthony with Land Title. I wanted to bring you the Boulder County update for October of 2021. And we are going to get into some really interesting stuff here. We're starting to follow some real seasonal trends here. And the real problem with that is we are running incredibly low on inventory. If you look here, our inventory's fallen off to levels nearing where we were in the springtime, but we are still staying high and under contracts, high in pendings, which is a great sign for a strong fall market. I think this is going to be a really good time to list a house, and I will explain why, kind of counterintuitive to our normal falls. But look at this, 17% over year over year over on our average sales price increase, which is amazing. Real problem we're running into is that we have no inventory. So that's all playing into a lot of what we're seeing. If you look here, this is just our inventory. Let's take a quick look at this. The best part about this slide is everything that's going on a city level. So now that we have it broken down for you by city within the county, Boulder still has a substantial amount more inventory than anywhere else. In fact, probably more than the rest of the county combined from the numbers. And that is creating some giant changes in behavior. So Boulder's been doing incredibly well, outpacing last year as far as sales. When you look at actives down in the county, this is becoming the problem. It's hamstringing what can actually take place in the rest of Boulder County. So those numbers are really starting to slip, and you can really see that in the data. If you look at the month supply of inventory, look how low this is getting. We're actually down in those figures where we were back in pretty close to, well, January, February, March last year. And it's going to continue to drop even more. My biggest concern with where we are is if you look at where we were 2 years ago in October, it fell and we really never quite recovered. And we're going to be in one of those markets again where look how low inventory has been all year, under 1 month of inventory the entire year. If we start another year of really strong buyer activity with really, really hyper low interest rate, or yes, low interest rates and also low inventory, that's going to create this buyer demand and buyer frenzy that's going to drive prices up even more. So next year could have some incredible appreciation in the market. If you look at days on market are showing the same thing. Incredible buyer behavior. It really isn't slowing down in the fall, and we're still below where we've ever been over the last couple of years, even in October. So those spring markets or those summer markets where we see, the lowest days on market for the year, like we were here at 35 days, it really put us into perspective just how strong of a buyer's market this has been, because we just don't have enough inventory. So everyone out on the market is moving quickly. That 35 days on market, this is that time where we look at from active to sold, right? So you really just have a long weekend of bidding wars, and that was off the market back in June. That's heightening just a little bit. So this is a good sign for buyers. If you got buyers that are still interested, get in now, because this is going to get much, much worse into next year. So this is an incredible time for opportunity for your buyers. But at the same time, because these numbers look so strong, you would actually not have any problems listing a home right now. And I'll show you why they're going to get top dollar for those as well. Now, if we go over here to the actives and solds, we've never seen a year with luxury going as well as it is. Look down here at the 3 million mark. We're talking about 200% more than we had last year. 13 over 3 million sales in the last month. This is just booming, right? I kind of tend to look at over 2 or over 1.5 million in Boulder County, kind of depending on where you're at, and it's just thriving. So with that kind of a luxury market, it's kind of taking some of the pressure off that type of the market, but we're also eating away at that inventory every single month, and it's still going to stay strong. The biggest problem is where we're short on sales is right here. The lower end of the market, that average, medium, that part of the market is really, really struggling. I mean, you can see we're down 10, 15, 36% because there just aren't enough homes for sale in those lower price points. I mean, you see it here, 60% less inventory than there was this time year to date. So even though luxury is doing well, it's also still short on inventory. And because of that, you can see that the month supply of inventory here has been really low. Now, these climbed just a little bit into the fall, and then now they're kind of back falling again. So it is a great time for trade-up opportunity. This is an excellent time to kind of think, what if I'm in that 600 to 800 range? Well, where can you trade up to? Or if you're in that 1 to 1.5 million range, you want to finally get up into the 2 million luxury price point. There is a lot of opportunity here for those buyers. So this is an awesome spot. If you're a seller, this has really been the best time in history that I've seen in Boulder County, to list a home in the luxury market, we are actually in a seller's market, even up through 3 million. Probably not once you get up to 4 or 5 million, but we're still ultra low on inventory compared to sometimes it's 18 months, right? A year ago, we were about 12 to 14 months at 3+ million. We have chipped away at all of that inventory. There's nothing left. The nice thing about being a buyer in this market in the fall is we finally started to see the average days on market rise a little bit. That doesn't mean it wouldn't be worth listing a home right now. It just means, especially in those higher price points, it could sit a little bit longer. And it means that your buyers actually have the ability to go in there and be the first offer on the table, even if it's been on the market for a few weeks. So this is a good sign for buyers. But because of this month supply of inventory, I would still say at any price point right now, it's not a bad time to list your home. You have a little bit of time before the holidays still. You definitely have a window between Thanksgiving and Christmas where people buy. It might not be too late to list a property. You can get top dollar. If you look at the sales, you can really see here, look, Boulder, the city of Boulder, number of solds, 173, which really just relates to the fact that over the last 12 months, it's had an 18% increase in sales in the city of Boulder. The places that have been hamstrung the most, Louisville, and we're talking about Longmont and Erie, are getting crushed by the lack of inventory that they have available. So their sales are being stifled. Nothing to be hugely concerned about. It's just the reality of those markets don't have enough for sale, and they have way more buyers than are available to kind of put into homes. And if you look at the average sales price, this is the most incredible thing that we've seen for a while. And this is what we've been talking about every month. But 19%, almost 20% over the last 12 months, we've seen that average sales price increase. Expect to go into next year with high appreciation levels again, because we just don't have a lot of inventory unless interest rates just spike, which it doesn't really look like that's happening. Looks like they're kind of slowly elevating. So it may slow down and won't be this extreme next year, hopefully. But this is really, really incredible if you own property. You definitely have gotten the best of both worlds. You're seeing this all over the board. Look at all these double-digit appreciation numbers. Exclude Niwot, because with that small of a sample size, we're just not getting a fair comparison. I would argue that Niwot is getting the same appreciation levels as the rest of the county, that 15%-ish or so. So great sign for real estate owners in this market. Now, if you look here at the sold units, you can really see kind of the seasonal trend is taking place, and sales are slowing down into the fall, and we're not going to quite be where we were last year, but we have no inventory. So without the inventory like we did have in the fall last year, we just don't have anything to chip way up, but you have really active buyers. So awesome time to get your home on the market. You can see that we're about 10% less than we were last year in sales this time of year. Expect for that to kind of carry through. And we probably will fall short of our last year numbers, even though we're ahead at this point, because without the inventory, buyers have nothing to buy. And that's just the cold, hard facts, right? Lastly, there's one thing I wanted to talk about left. This might be one of the more important slides, especially if we talked about listing homes in the fall. This is an awesome time to list homes because of this right here. Look at this. In the fall, we have seen over 100% list sale price in our detached market. That is better than the last 2 years at any point in time, right? The spring markets in 2019 and 2020 were not as exciting and not as good as listing a home right now. So that's a big takeaway, right? I think you can definitely take that to your clients and really have that conversation with them. And if you look at the attached market, it is very similar, right? We're not over 100% anymore for the first month of, well, basically since, I guess spring. And we've really seen that seasonal shift. So very exciting stuff here. If you have any other questions or you have any concerns, you want sub-market data, I'm always here to help with that. And always happy to help walk you through some of those rebuttals and using the data with your clients. Thank you again. I'm Anthony Land Title, and I'll see you soon.